Hello everyone, welcome to Dueno Tech channel. Today we are continuing learning JavaScript using FreeCodeCamp platform. Let's navigate directly to where we stopped in previous tutorial. So if I navigate to this FreeCodeCamp website here, we stopped in this challenge 121. And in this challenge is asking us to update the text.inner text, adding this new text here and updating weapon using the actual weapon data. So let's do that here. So after this line, let's duplicate this code and using addition assignment operator. So addition and equal, and then the new text, this part here. And instead of this weapon, we are going to use the actual weapon data instead. So we're going to use the concatenation and make sure to leave a space at the end here, and then add a plus simple, and then we need to access the weapons, the current weapon. So to access the current weapons, we can use weapons array that we have here on the top. We have array of weapons. So this array of weapons, and we can use also this current weapon index to access the correct weapon that we need. And we are going to use weapon by the name, so accessing, for example, relevant object from this list of weapons, and then use the dot notation to access the name of that weapon. Let's do that at the bottom here. So scroll down, and after this, if we need to access an object inside array, as if you remember, we can use a square bracket, then an index for that array. So in this case, we don't know which index in this example, so we use instead current weapon index, so that will generate a dynamic index for us, and this will retain an object, and we need to access from this object, we need to access the name property, so dot name, and that will retain the weapon name. So then add a plus at the end. We need to add a double goodies dot and semicolon at the end. Check your code. Congratulations, your code is passed. Submit the changes and move on to the next challenge. And in this challenge is asking us to update this health minus monster level. So let's do that here at the bottom. Let's do that at the bottom here. So health minus equal, we are going to use compound operator, and that means then health minus the monster level. So we can access the monster level using this approach, and then add semicolon at the end. Congratulations, your code is passed. Submit the changes and move on to the next challenge. And in this challenge is asking us to update the monster health by equal to monster health minus current weapon power. So let's do that. So monster health equal minus equal, we are going to use compound operator as well here, and that means monster health minus this here, the current weapon power, and add a semicolon at the end. Check your code. Congratulations, your code is passed. Submit the changes and move on to the next challenge. And in this challenge is giving us introduction to the mass object in JavaScript. So the mass in JavaScript contains static properties and methods for mathematical constants and functions. So one of those, so for example, mass.random. So this give you a random number, start from 0 to 1 inclusive. And as well, we have mass.floor, and this will round a given number down to nearest integer. And here is an example how to use them. For example, using mass.floor and then passing down a mass.random multiplied by 5, then plus 1. This will give you a random number between 1 and 5. And at the bottom here is asking us to follow the same pattern to update this monster health by adding instead of 5, we are going to use the XP value. Let's do that here at the end. So let's add a plus before this semicolon, and then we are going to copy this example here, and then instead of this 5, we are going to use XP value, and this is a variable declared here on the top. So this is XP value, and if scroll back again down, and so now check your code. Congratulations, your code is passed. Submit the changes and move on to the next challenge. And in this challenge is asking us to update the health text and the monster health text to use health and monster health. Let's do that here at the bottom. equal health, and duplicate this line and update instead of health text to be monster health text, and the value to be monster health instead of health. Check your code, and there is an error, so there is a mistyped here, so this should be health instead. Congratulations, your code is passed. Submit the changes and move on to the next challenge. And this challenge is asking us to add if statement to check the health, where if is it less than or equal to 0, and if true, then call lose function. So at the bottom here, let's add a if statement. As you remember, how we can declare an if statement in JavaScript. If health less than or equal 0, then open a curly bracket. Inside here, if this true, then call this function call lose. So we didn't create this function yet. We are going to create it on the next challenge. So check, and there is an error, and again there is a mistype with the health. So check again. Congratulations, your code is passed. Submit the changes and move on to the next challenge. And in this challenge is asking us to add else if statement. This is a quick example for you if you forget how to add else if statement. So at the end here is asking us to add to the end of this condition else if statement, open a curly bracket. Inside the condition area, we need to check where if the monster health is less than or equal to 0, then call this function called defeat monsters. So let's call that function here as well. This function, we did not create this function yet. So let's scroll down, check your code. Congratulations, your code is passed. Submit the changes and move on to the next challenge. And in this challenge is asking us to create two empty functions, one called defeat monster and the second one called lose. Let's just declare them here at the bottom. If you remember to declare a function, we'll use the function keyword and then the name of the function, parenthesis, then a curly bracket. So copy the same function and duplicate it for the second one and changes the name of the function to be called lose. And check your code. Congratulations, your code is passed. Submit the changes and move on to the next challenge. And in this challenge is asking us to update this text inside Dodge function to use this new text. Let's just copy this text.inner text inside Dodge function equal to this new text here. And instead of this monster, we are going to use the actual monster value. So let's remove that and using the concatenation approach. And don't forget to leave a space at the end here and add the plus. Then to access a monster, there is an example at the top here, so we can access the monster like this example by calling the monsters array, then fighting, which will give you the index for the current monster. This will return an object, and then we'll to access the name of the monster, we are going to use dot notation to access the name, so dot name. And at the end, add the semicolon. Check your code. Congratulations, your code is passed. Submit the changes and move on to the next challenge. And in this challenge is asking us to assign gold to equal gold plus the monster level multiplied by 6.7 using mass.floor inside this defeat monster. So let's do that. So gold equal to, so we are going to use the compound assignment operators. So let's add a plus here before equal. And then we are going to use mass.floor, and inside mass.floor we are going to call this monster level multiply by 6.7, and at the end add the semicolon. Check your code. Congratulations, your code is passed. Submit the changes and move on to the next challenge. And by now, this is the end of this tutorial. Thank you for watching and see you in the very next tutorial.